friends, this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life. We're here doing the sleepover DLC before we hit like step 2. So here we go. Okay. Alright kids, we're done with dinner. Come to the table. Sorry, not come onto the table. Your stomach grumbled right on time as if it heard your mom's word. You halted your game and looked over. Mom was almost done setting the table. She was walking around the mahogany wood in the process of putting down cutlery. Mommy was still in the kitchen, humming under her breath as she turned off the stove to put empty pots in the sink to wash. From beside you, Lizzie stirred and crossing her legs and standing up. She stretched her arms above her head. Finally, I'm ready to eat. Then she cast a sly glance in your direction. You recognize that look. Last one to the table is rotten egg. I mean, how far away? It's not that far. I haven't, but it was too late. Lizzie had already bolted towards the kitchen. You tried to catch up to her, you stayed sitting, you yelled out to her, you threw a cushion at her. You know what? I would try to catch up to her. It wasn't a very fair race, you knew that, but you were ready to join in anyway. You stood up from the floor as quick as you dared, then ran after her, though there wasn't really time to close the gap. It was a short distance to the kitchen table. Lizzie managed to get there easily enough, slapping a hand over the wood. Mom moved just before Lizzie could bump into her. With an exasperated sigh, she resumed her work. I won again. Again. You didn't win because you were racing by yourself. Because you cheated, okay? You won, you didn't bother trying to talk to her about that. Man, I'm not gonna bother. I won. That means you're the rotten egg. Lizzie grinned, her hands on her hips, and looked over your shoulder. Cove, you think so too, right? Wait, Cove's here? You blinked, you almost forgot. You almost forgot about him. The fact that Cove preferred to keep to himself didn't matter either. You spotted Cove still on the floor. His legs were crossed beneath him, the arm with the cast resting in his lap. He looked at the two of you with a slight frown. It felt sort of strange to see him still here so late. Tonight, Cove had come. Oh, right! Why wouldn't he be here? It's a sleepover DLC. Tonight, Cove had come to your house for a sleepover. Your mom and his dad had planned it a few days ago. You weren't surprised you had overheard your moms discussing it before. You had expected it when your moms told you, but you didn't mind Cove sleeping over. The idea made you uncomfortable. He's going to sleep in your room. No, I don't mind. It was just for one night. Even if he's not really your friend, he isn't the worst person in the world. Also, we're still acquaintances, I guess. Cove pursed his lips at Lizzie's question, but he didn't respond. Maybe he was planning on ignoring her. Not that Lizzie would make it easy. This wasn't the first time she had asked him to be a referee for one of her sudden races. Come on! Well, did I win or what? Cove still didn't respond. He turned away, refusing to weigh in. Lizzie glowered, but it had no effect. Fine, you don't have to say so. You can both be rotten eggs. That's enough. Nobody here is a loser or a rotten egg. You're each fresh, farm fresh, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. Alright. Now, listen to Mom and come sit at the table for dinner, all three of you. You and Lizzie obeyed, sitting across from each other at the edge of the table. Lizzie blew raspberry at you when Mom turned her back. Her parents, your parents, not her parents. Your parents brought the last of the food. Then they took seats further down the table instead of sitting right next to you and Lizzie. Only Cove was left out. He had stood up from his spot on the floor, but he hadn't made a move towards the kitchen. Cove, you can sit too. Slowly he eyed the 4 seats that were left. Thanks to the new seating arrangement your parents chose, one free chair was beside you, another next to Lizzie, and the last 2 were on the other side of where your moms were sitting. You stayed quiet. No, sit next to me! He hung his head and scuttled past you, Lizzie and your mom's. He went to the chair to the opposite. What the fuck? He just stood with no one. On the opposite edge of the table and sat down. It seemed far away as It seemed being far away is what he wanted. Your mom's frowned. You shrugged it off and turned back to your plate. I mean, at least I attempted, you know. Now that everyone was situated, Mommy began to pass out plates. Okay. Dig in, kids. I cooked a little bit of everything for dinner tonight. Be sure not to avoid all of the vegetables or veggies. Yes, Mom. Each person at the table served themselves except for one. Cove hesitated again. He fidgeted with his hands clamped on top of his knees. He didn't seem very comfortable doing stuff in someone else's home. One dish seemed to have his eye, at least. That's pineapple chicken. Want to try some? Not really. Sorry. By then, your moms had noted that Cove still had nothing on his plate as well. Do you not like any of the food, honey? Well, maybe he hasn't tried Hawaiian food before. He hasn't? Wow. I mean, I just recently tried malasada this year, and that's Hawaiian, right? If I'm incorrect, I am so sorry. Please don't talk with your mouth full, Lizzie. Lizzie swallowed the bite she was eating, then she spoke again. You should try it now. She turned to Cove dramatically. Unless you want to shrink, that's what happens if you miss a meal. Elizabeth, that's not true, you know that. I mean, it's good to lie. That's a good lie, though. Cove squirmed under all the attention. He fidgeted with a fork between his fingers. I've had some things, just not any of those.
Oh, shoot.
I knew I should have asked your dad what your favorite foods were. It's alright, Lonnie. Maybe he'll find a new favorite today. You weren't so sure about that. Cove didn't look like he was going to be trying the food anytime soon. You let your mom handle this? I think you should try the pineapple chicken. It's yummy. Give me your plate. You should try something new. I think you would like that pineapple chicken. Eventually, Cove carefully spooned the rice and pineapple onto his plate, maybe because he didn't know what else to do at that point. You saw that he avoided the veggies entirely. Your mom's let him get away with not taking the vegetables. At first, Cove poked at the food. Clearly, he was apprehensive to eat something new, but he took a few exploratory bites.
Right?
It's good, huh? Isn't it? You don't have to keep asking. He still speared more meat with his fork and ate it, chewing thoughtfully. It's not bad. Mommy grinned at his words, satisfied, even though it wasn't exactly a glowing commendation. Lizzie wasn't as mollified. You're so weird. Don't be mean to your friend. We're not friends.
Oh.
Mommy floundered in the face with Cove's blunt honesty. It seemed strange your mommy was taken aback by the news. When had they gotten along? And you didn't consider yourself to be friends with him either. As far as you were concerned, he was your neighbor and nothing else. Damn. Your mommy looked at Mom and only got a shrug.
No.
Elizabeth, don't call someone weird. There's no such thing as a weird person and a non-weird person. There's just different perspectives. It's not a nice thing to say to anyone. But Pam... Mommy tried to whisper exclusively to Mom. Her attempt to make it audible over the sounds of clinking silverware meant you caught the quiet words anyway. They're not friends, he said so. As parents, we can only try, and sometimes we fail. Not all kids will be thick as thieves. Now less talking, more eating, kids. You need to clean up and start winding down for bed soon. Mom, I mean, it does hurt a parent when they overhear a kid saying like, oh, I don't want to be friends with your kid, you know. Sounds sad. No buts. We've talked about this and Your bedtime will be moved back in a few years. For now, you don't get to stay up late. Lizzie sulked, muttering under her breath about how it wasn't right. You laughed at Mom's phrasing. You grinned about it as well. You stayed quiet. I'm gonna stay quiet. It's not my conversation to input anything. It was good food and you're pretty content to just keep eating. That's the idea. Good job, Michiko. Everyone else get to it. The rest of dinner passed by uneventfully. Cove was silent for most of it, even when your mom's attempts to include him in the conversation. All too soon, the table was cleared. The games in the living room were put away, and you were all steered to your bedrooms. Mom finished tucking you in and kissed your brow, just as Mommy poked her head in the room. I'm ready for the lights off, you two. You were lying comfortably in bed, the blanket hiked up under your armpits. You could kick it off later if it got too hot. Mom had set up the sleeping bag on the floor for Cove, just beside your bed. He had already wiggled inside. I think so.
Good night.
Perfect. I'll go say goodnight to Lizzie then. Mom tweaked her nose. Tweaked her nose, chuckled when you squawked in annoyance, and laughed. Mommy took her place sitting on the edge of her bed.
Sweet dreams.
She pressed a soft kiss on your forehead. You giggled as strands of her hair fell forward and tickled you. Mommy smiled down affectionately at you, then moved her attention to Cove, who watched from his spot on the floor. Do you need anything before falling asleep, honey? What does your dad do? Sometimes he picks me up and lifts me really high, and he shakes his hands like he's gonna let go. What the fuck? But he catches me again. He's so cute. He keeps doing that until sometimes he does drop me on my bed, or other times he lowers me down and we pretend like I'm crashing. Like, okay, how's she gonna do all that? Like, what is she gonna do? Cove had become pretty excited when talking about the nightly ritual he and his dad shared. He seemed to realize how animated he was and bashfully quieted. But I don't want to do that here.
Aww.
How fun. Though I think you're right that it might not be a good idea to do that tonight. That sleeping bag might not be soft enough for landing. If there's anything else, you can always ask me or Michiko's other mom. But I'm the nicer one. Just don't tell her that. She laughed good naturedly and stood up.
Take care.
Sleep well, Cove. Night. Leaning against a door jamb, she rested a hand on the light switch and looked to you. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. With a last smile, Mommy turned off the lights and stepped outside, closing the bedroom door behind her. You listened to her footsteps fade as she walked down the hallway. You closed your eyes and snuggled in, prepared to drift off. You started when Cove sighed deeply. You turned your head to look in his direction. In the dark, you could only see a faint outline of a lump under the covers. Cove? What's wrong? What was that? Could you be less loud? I hate when people do that to me. Like, oh my god, Michi, can you stop talking so much? As I'm quiet as fuck. Could you be quiet, please? Stop that. What's wrong? I can't sleep. Why not? He shifted, or at least you thought he did. You couldn't see anything since your eyes were still adjusting to the dark, but you heard his sleeping bag rustle. I want to be in my bed. Oh. I mean, I don't know why you're here. Like, did your dad have to, like, overnight work or something? Cove sat up. Your eyes had gotten used to the low light level so you could see him better. He got out of the sleeping bag, wobbled towards your side table, and pulled open the top drawer. What is it? I'm getting my glasses. You want to sleep next to me, fam? He sat up too, watching as he reached inside. He paused for a second, then pulled his hand out. Instead of his glasses, though, he was holding a book. Cove turned it around in his hands, trying to figure out the proper orientation for it. You knew, even without reading the title, which one it was. That was one your moms would read to you. It was special. I thought you were looking for your glasses? What are you doing with that? Be careful, that's mine. What are you doing with that? Cove shrugged, squinting at a newly found cover in the dark. I just thought it looked cool. The compliment he afforded the special book had you grinning, your confusion forgotten. It is really cool.
Oh?
Yeah? What is it about? It's a story about a squire who wants to become a knight, and there's magic. Does it have mermaids? No, but I love the main character because the squire is really weird and funny. It has cool pictures, some of them even take up the page. Mommy reads it to me. She uses different voices for every character. There's a dragon in it, and crazy things happen. I mean, there's a dragon in it. The squire tries to kill her because the king wants the dragon dead, so they have this fight. But the squire finds out the dragon's really nice. They decide they don't want to fight her after all, so the two of them become friends instead. It's just like a different dimension of Shrek, if it was just Shrek and the dragon. He only realized afterward that he spoke more strongly than he had meant to. Your cheeks burned. This must have been how Cove felt earlier. Thankfully, Cove didn't seem annoyed. In fact, if you didn't know any better, it seemed like he liked the explanation. Usually, Cove sported a disinterested expression on its face, or a sad one. You could probably count the number of times you'd seen him smile on one hand, which is very true because he hardly smiles. Right now, though, he looked excited as he flipped the book over and focused at the backside to try learning more. You were reminded of the hours you'd spent hearing the tales. No matter how many times you read it or had it read to you, you were still entertained by the story and pictures inside. You glanced out the window. The moon was high in the sky. You wanted to read the book with Cove. It was definitely time when you were supposed to be asleep. You couldn't keep staying up. No, let's read the book with Cove. You climbed out of bed and padded over to your side table. You opened it and rummaged around, pushing aside stuffed animals and crayons. Cove called out to you in a confused whisper. Well, what are you doing? Getting something we need. You let out a quiet cry of victory when you found what you were looking for. You jumped back onto the bed before any hidden boogeyman could catch you unaware. Cove continued to watch as you wiggled your way beneath the blanket you discarded earlier. You pulled it up over your head. You have to come here. Bring the book too. Oh, it's so spoopy dark in here. After a minute, the bed dipped as Cove got on it. Then the blanket shifted. You fiddled with the flashlight in your grip, feeling for the switch. With a click, the small space glowed of bright light. Cove sputtered, putting a hand to shield himself from the beam. Move it somewhere else. Sorry. Reading a book with Cove. Or more like Cove was reading it to himself. You hurriedly tilted the flashlight so it was shining down at the floor of your blanket cave and away from Cove's sensitive eyes. Now we can read, and my moms won't know. I do this all the time. I've never tried this. I've never tried this before. What the heck? I would usually go to bed. This is a special occasion. But I'm not that tired. I'm going to read this, and you can't sleep, so... You shrugged. It had made better sense in your head at the time. Do you want to try? Oh, cutie. Cove nodded, pleased by his straightforward response. You placed the book between you and flipped it open to the first page. Meanwhile, he laid down on his belly and shuffled closer, picking up the flashlight to shine it on the pages. His face was illuminated with a warm glow. You mirrored his position, leaning in so you could see the book better. Your foreheads nearly brushed until you shuffled back to a comfortable distance. You wanted the story to be narrated. You thought it was best to take turns reading the book silently. You flipped through the pages to show Cove cool pictures. Take turns, you know? Here. You turned the book around so it was right side up for Cove. You can read a page, then I'll read it, and we can keep switching like that. He nodded with a bit of hesitance. Cove tugged the book closer towards him. Then he began to read. You saw his mouth form the words as he whispered them under his breath, inaudible to you. After some time he was finished reading the first page, he took a few moments to admire the picture, covering half the page, then slid the book back to you.
Okay.
Your turn. You continued this way until you were a quarter way into the tale. The next time it was Cove's turn, you yawned, resting your chin atop your crossed arms. Idly, you studied Cove. His eyes were following the text. A soft smile lighting up his features. A lock of his hair fell into his field of vision, but he gave it no notice. He was lost in the story. Your eyelids started to droop. When your eyes opened again, your bed was pitch black and silent. Your head was smushed in your pillow, your pajamas were sticking to you, and your mouth was dry. Slowly you raised yourself onto your elbows. You yawned, the back of your throat twinging as you did so. You rode onto your side to sit up in the bed, planning on getting water from the kitchen when you saw a dark shape towering above you. Above me? What is he doing above me? You froze, and you remember you weren't alone in your room tonight. Cove, that you?
Yeah.
Are you okay? You shifted and felt something cylindrical pressed against your thigh. What? What? You fumbled for it. The familiar way the flashlight pressed into your palm and turned it on. Cove blinked at you, looking exhausted. He was in his normal clothes again, shoes and everything. His pajama pants were left on the floor, abandoned. His sleeping bag was in a similar state. What is it? I can't sleep. I keep waking up. Did you have a bad dream? He shook his head from side to side. No, just can't sleep. It's weird here. You frowned. You'd helped your moms redecorate it only a few months back. I like my room. It's weird to me. I want to sleep in my bed. I'm gonna go. What? What? That shook off the last of your doziness. He was going to walk outside back to his own house, this time of night, all by himself. He noted your shocked expression and looked at you with resolve. My dad will let me in. I've gone outside late before and I have to go. Oh, so it was just a planned sleepover. Dad was actually home the whole time. They just wanted him to have some fun, right? Well, if you have to, you don't have to. I'll come with you. I should tell my moms. Fuck, do we wake up our parents? I always never wanted to go talk to them though. I'll come with you. I can do it by myself. His tone was firm, leaving no room for argument. Damn, Cole, why are you being so mean to me? I guess it's strange because, you know, we're not friends or anything, and he's like forced to be going to a sleepover. Not that there was time for Annie. He began making his way to the bedroom door before you could even open your mouth to respond. Clearly, he was in a hurry to get out of here. You couldn't blame him. It was late, and he must want to go to sleep already. Good night. Night. Just like that, he was gone. You were left blinking wearily at the closed door. You dropped your head down. You dropped your head to the pillow, closed your eyes, and settled in as best as you could. You were getting sleepy again. Your very last thought was that sleepover had been not very successful. The next morning, you were woken by the sound of Mom's voice and a soft shake on your shoulder. Michiko, wake up! It's time to get up and at 'em. The sun was peeking through your curtains, and you rubbed out your eyes as they adjusted to the new light. Ko was already out of bed. You blinked at her for a moment, confused, until you caught the empty sleeping bag on the ground and remembered what had happened during the night. But I didn't see him out there. I wonder where he's gotten off to so early. You hesitated, giving Mom a look with your mouth hanging half open as your mind processed what to tell her.
Everything okay?
No. Cove couldn't sleep. He said my room was weird.
What?
Where's Cove now? Did he sleep on the couch? Mom was still looking at you expectantly, but as you started to explain what had happened, you were interrupted by Mommy calling from downstairs, and Mr. Holden was at the door. You could tell by the way that Mom's forehead crinkled that she was even more concerned. When she turned to head downstairs, you pulled back the covers and jumped out of the bed to follow her. Cliff, how are you? Well, he looks mad. I didn't do anything. Mom joined Mommy at the door while you hovered at the bottom of the stairs and peeked around the corner. You saw Cove's dad standing just outside. He was alone. Just wondered if Cove had gotten home. So I'm out of the loop on what happened, but Cove showed up back home in the middle of the night. I didn't do anything. Mr. Holden was much more serious than you were used to. Maybe this was a bigger thing than you had thought it was. Your mom exchanged a matching pair of surprised looks, Mommy gasping and covering her mouth with a hand. You wouldn't tell me. I thought you might have some insight. We didn't hear a thing during the night. I noticed Ko was gone just minutes before you arrived. Is he alright? We're so sorry. Mr. Holden pulled his lips into a tight smile and held up his hands as if to say it wasn't their fault. He's fine. I just wanted to find out more before having another talk with him. I should have known he wasn't ready to spend the night in someone else's house. You felt bad for Mr. Holden. He looked so sad. They discussed the event for a little bit longer, your parents promising to call him if they found out more. And when Mr. Holden finally said goodbye, you heard Mom calling your name. Immediately, you panicked, wondering if you should find somewhere to hide. There was a growing sense of dread in your stomach that you were about to get into a lot of trouble. Why would I be in trouble? I didn't do anything. Or is it because I didn't do anything? Your moms found you eventually, though you were relieved to see they didn't look very angry. They did, however, look very, very worried. Did you know Cove had gone home with Chico? Yes, I guess. You looked up at them both, your mouth pulled into a hard line and Mommy's eyes softened a little.
No.
Maybe he snuck out while Michiko was asleep. He got past the two of us. Is that what happened, honey? Shaking your head, you finally confessed and told them what had really happened. You didn't want Cove to get in trouble, but you didn't want to lie to your parents either, not when they had been so worried about him. Your parents listened to you in full before they explained how dangerous it had been for Cove to wander at night on his own. Listen, I was gonna go with him, but that's not any better. Personally, you didn't think it was that bad since Cove only lived across the road, but you didn't tell your moms that. You were already in enough trouble as it was, so when they asked you to promise to tell them something like that next time, you nodded your head in agreement. Even though it was a little unfair, you accepted the punishment that you weren't allowed to have any sleepovers until you could prove to your moms that you were responsible enough. You were determined to show them that you could be trusted. When you saw Cove next, he was sorry you had gotten in trouble. After hearing a similar lecture, Cove got away with a warning from its dad. Mr. Holden felt the negative experience was enough already, and Cove didn't need additional punishments. In the end, the two of you and your parents were eventually able to move past the ill-fated sleepover. It had all been a learning experience according to the adults. You could accept that. There were definitely things you learned from it. Well, shit! Cove got me in trouble! But he got in trouble too. But it seems like Cove in step 1, he's still wary of us. He's still in that phase in his mindset, like, he doesn't want to be here, so he's not happy. He's not willing to, like, open up and give this place a chance, give you a chance, give anyone a chance, and even give his dad a chance. So I understand why he's so standoffish and, like, quiet. Like, I'm not gonna expect him to be all, like, bubbly and happy and shit, because he didn't want to come here to begin with. But anywho, in the next episode, we're gonna be leaving step 1, and we're gonna be moving on to step 2, where I can raise up her bar and Cove's bar. I kind of want him to just do whatever, though. So I hope if I don't adjust his bar, the game will just adjust it throughout it. If not, then I surely didn't fucked up and gave myself a friend zone. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.